It's starting. Okay. Greeting. This is the monkey, Ella, and the dog, Tuba. This is the dog, Tuba, and my co-host. Introduce yourself.
The Fairy King.
And we are here to talk to you about a favorite movie series. And probably a favorite of yours as well. So, Mr. King, which is your favorite of the series? Wait. First, how did you first find out about this magnificent movie series?
I first found out about it in my public library.
So you didn't see any owls with invitations in the mail. Ta.
No.
Well, um, were you upset that the casting didn't look exactly like how the characters were depicted in the books? That when you saw them on screen, they weren't exactly how you pictured them.
To be honest, I have never read the books.
Oh,
All I know is the movies.
well, I bet everyone that watched the Rings of Power wished they only watched the movies as well. But that's a different stream. Um, but the so out of all these, which would you say is your favorite of the Harry Potter films?
I would have to say the Goblet of Fire.
Ah, my favorite happens to be the Chamber of Secrets because it is so unique. It is the first time that we actually get to see a non CGI uh, um, Voldemort, and we actually get the first flashback. I don't think we got a flashback to Voldemort's time or any of the students of Hogwarts back in the first one, right?
No.
And we also got to see the shadow of a young Hagrid. Did did we not?
Yes, we did.
So, and we got to hear Hagrid, and so that was the first time we actually got to see inside the Hogwarts castle and Dumbledore in the for the first time in the past. I think in yours, number four, they show like in my favorite, they show us the past in a book. Uh, Voldemort's or Tom Riddle's uh, memory of it, and in your favorite, we see the past from Dumbledore's memory of it, right?
Yes.
And where we see Voldemort's first form, since technically his first form was back when he was at Hogwarts back all those years ago. And I guess you could say how he was in the Philosopher's Stone, aka the Sorcerer's Stone, depending on which release of the DVD or VHS that people got. His final form was in the on the back of the head of that one teacher that I forget the name of, right?
Yes.
The one that stuttered. But I always found it kind of funny that well, during the rewatches, that when you think about it, Dumbledore, sorry. I mean, I don't know, just all those students, yeah, they were throwing snowballs right at the head of that one guy. They were nailing him right in the head, you know. But that's a rewatch thing. You realize afterward. But the thing is, you know, I forget his darn. Ah, the um the the Dark Lord. Everyone was throwing snowballs. Those snowballs hit his head, since the back of the back of the head of that teacher was Voldemort. That means Voldemort was getting smashed in the back of his was getting smashed right in the face with those snowballs. So that means on Hogwarts ground, on the grounds of Hogwarts, in the first year Harry Potter was there, Lord Voldemort got snowballs right in the face.
Hmm.
But yeah, but but I will say, back to my favorite. So that's the first time we actually see characters from the series in the past, even before the prequels with Newt, and it's also the first time we get to see Moaning Myrtle. And unlike other characters in films, we don't have to wait till the sequel to. Well, no, wait. Don't they show Moaning Myrtle in the first one, or do they only mention her?
I
I
don't
think they
recall.
mention her. I
I don't
think they
recall them
mentioned.
ever showing her.
I think they mentioned saying some get Filch to clean up the girls' restroom again because the toilet's flooded over. I think that was in the first one that they flooded over again. But the in the second one, I think that's the first time we get to see. Well, no, I'm pretty sure that's the first time we get to see Moaning Myrtle, right?
I think the first time we see Moaning Myrtle is in Chamber of Secrets.
Yep, that's the one I was talking about. Yep, because remember, she ends up saying, we get her backstory of how she became a ghost, and I, I'll never forget that line. When you die, Harry, you can share my toilet too. Yeah. Um, and remember, Hermione gives him a look. So,
Hmm.
and when you think about it, she doesn't give Ron a look till number 3. So, and in number 4, your favorite, she gives Harry a look of concern. But in the second one, she gives him a look that maybe hints, like in the Rise of, no, like in the first Star Wars sequel film, The Rise of Skywalker, kind of hints at it. There could be something there between Finn and Rey. The in this when they're in that scene in the bathroom in Chamber of Secrets, it their look hints a little bit at what could be in the future if Harry doesn't die and becomes a ghost living in and sharing Moaning Myrtle's toilet. But and we get to see uh, the part where he saves his future wife, Ginny. Um, I'm pretty sure they turned the newest one into a Broadway play. Well, that would have never happened. Oh, I think it's called The Cursed Child, but I think it was a book
It
first.
is.
Um, I that would have never happened if not for Harry saving Ginny in this in the second film. And to be fair, none of the events in number 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, part 1 and part 2, would have happened if not for if not for Harry saving Ginny in the Chamber of Secrets, correct?
Correct.
It just would have been a massacre by the memory of 16-year-old uh, Tom Riddle massacring all the students of Hogwarts in the middle of the night. So basically, it would have been like kind of like Harry Potter meets John Wick 4.
Hmm.
I'm thinking I'm back. um, but uh, and I'm thinking. I so what was your favorite part of the? What was your favorite? Well, I would say my favorite part of the fourth one, your favorite, is we get to see uh oh Cedric Diggory. But I well there's certain reasons for it that we'll get into, but what was your favorite? What were your favorite parts of the fourth one?
Seen Cedric.
Oh, well, who would have thought he would turn into our Batman? um, Now this kind of gives the question: if a student dies in Hogwarts by a magical way, do they get transported into do they get turned into a Muggle? Because out of in TV shows and films, we've seen them pop up everywhere. So do you think they are just reincarnations of their Harry Potter forms? Since we didn't see them really in pretty much anything before, but Cedric Diggory ended up being Batman, and I don't know, just do you think that when a magical student dies from a magical spell, that they end up becoming a Muggle out in the real world? It's never explored or never mentioned.
I'm not sure.
Because remember when Harry ends up temporarily being killed, he's only killed in the forest, not on the grounds. But would you call the Dark Forest the grounds of Hogwarts, or would you say it off of the grounds of Hogwarts?
It is off the grounds of the school itself, but it is uh, still close.
Mm. Okay. Well, seem to have taken a detour, but back to the original films. What um uh did um when they casted each of the characters, what did you think? Did you think they were? Do you think they really went well together? Do you think the chemistry that was supposed to be there between the original cast of Harry, Ron, and Hermione, do you feel that they were really a good match? Uh,
Yes, I think they were a good match.
I really didn't believe the I didn't believe the that Goyle and the other one were I didn't really get the feeling that they were friends to uh to Draco. They weren't even fearful of him. They were just like followers. That I mean, uh, like they didn't even seem like servants. They just seemed like sheep, you know. So I really feel that they could have done a little bit better at making them, you know, because
Yeah,
they
that's
were,
what Crab and
you know,
Goyle were
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
Draco.
yeah. But their houses were not as superior as Draco's, and that's why they were his underlings. But they really didn't talk about that too much, you know.
Yeah,
But Draco was just of a higher, like yeah, he talked about his father. Like, wait till my father hears about this. But I mean, think of this: in all the Harry Potter films, wasn't it only once of all the times that Draco said, "Wait till my father hears about this"? We only saw Draco Malfoy come to Hogwarts only once, and that was in the second one.
yeah,
Well, that is because that's the part where he says, um, uh, "Let's hope that Mr. Potter is always here to save the day." And Harry says, "I will be." Um, it or it might have been "We have to," but either way, it was a very good moment. But yeah, the second one just is so. And there also is another reason. The director of uh, the director of the first two Harry Potter films happens to be Christopher Columbus, the director of films such as Home Alone and other films. Um, but um, so the Chamber of Secrets was the last Harry Potter film he did. Number 3 through 7, part 2 was not him, but I mean, heck, even his daughter, Christopher Columbus's daughter, was in the Chamber of Secrets. Uh, yeah, his daughter's character, her last name was Bones, so she's in the
Susan
hole.
Bones.
What?
Susan Bones.
Yes, that she was played by uh Christopher Columbus's daughter, his real life daughter. Yeah. Um. Um. Yeah. So the second one definitely my favorite, but I um I don't think in your favorite that him and Cho would have been a good match. I don't think so. How about you? I mean, yes, he liked her, but I don't think they really would have been a good match in the long run. What do you think?
No, no, I don't think they would have been a good match.
And also, she was in multiple films, but they never really went into her backstory much.
No, that's
Heck, we find
in the Goblet of Fire. That's the only time they show her.
um heck we end up finding more about Cedric's uh um life and his relationship with his father more than we find out about her past.
Yeah,
But um but um there is a real life reason to it, but it would kind of paint her badly. But let's just say she only got into it because she had a father like Draco Malfoy. I'll just put it that way. That's why she got the role. Oth- other fans, the fans of the books, wanted somebody else, but she got it that way. But but she, I guess she was okay for the part. But I will say she definitely made number six memorable. That's for sure. But but I will say, don't you agree that the kiss between Harry and Ginny is a lot better than Harry's kiss to the
Hermione.
girl that I just no, between Cho. So don't you agree that Harry's kiss to Ginny was much more believable than and full of much more than his kiss to Cho in number six, the Order of the Phoenix.
Yes,
So again, that shows that Harry and Ginny are and were a better match than even if Harry would have ended up with Cho. Do you agree?
I agree.
But yeah, even I think that Harry originally from the first book was supposed to end up with Hermione, but in all due, it got changed, and that's why it seemed kind of different in the third film. It kind of, you know, went a different way. But uh, there's a different there's a couple different theories as to why it was changed. One theory is that it was the publisher said have the have her get have her decide to go with Ron. Others have a different theory, but those are the two theories. But neither one have been proven, so it's one or the other. But um, so what other ones in the series do you like best? Uh,
I want to say that I like the Order of the Phoenix.
yeah, as I said, that one was memorable too. So I'd say, but I will say, uh, your favorite holds a special place in my heart because we actually get to see Doctor Who, and yes, the current Doctor Who right now say, "I'll show you mine if you show me yours."
Hmm.
And he does it in such a way that is appropriate because he's talking about the tattoos of the well, technically it's a scar that he gave Harry, but it's a tattoo on his arm. But but really, how hard is it to? I mean, he could have. I mean, technically, I think he couldn't use a wand to do the tattoo like they all had because he was changing. He wasn't a. He wasn't his current. He wasn't a wizard anymore. Like his. He was in between the fluctuations. He was starting to turn back into himself. So I think that's why he could not use magic. But I think he was going to try in the if Dumbledore had not burst in. But I honestly don't think it would have worked because wands only work depending they only work best on depending who's using it, right?
Yes.
So since he was in the middle of the transformation, I think it would have just exploded them both. Kind of pulled a Peter Pettigrew.
Hmm.
Yeah, but because technically, when you think about it, it was only a moment or two after they pull Harry away from him that he starts changing. So I think it would have taken that long for him to do that spell on Harry. So I think it would have gone wrong. But but um but yeah, number 6 definitely memorable. Yeah. Uh 7 and 8 were different for their own reasons, but I really felt 7 and 8 were the darkest of the series, don't you think?
Yes, I agree.
Um, I guess you could say they were Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones.
Yes.
But um, but I will say I think they missed an opportunity with the game because in the game they came out with it took place 100 years in the past. Well, I think it really would have done justice if they would have continued on with the original characters. Because the the actor of Harry Potter didn't want to come back as Harry Potter, I think he would have at least agreed to to lend his to lend his voice to like he like you could have played like the players could have played a descendant of maybe even they could have played the cursed child, or they could have taken place, and it could have been any of the original characters children that you play at, and they could have, you know at least Harry could have been like the principal or the headmaster, or kind of like how they made Ron Weasley's and Ginny Weasley's great grandmother, kind of the second in command there. They could have at least had one of their future descendants, or at least one of them, one of the key members. Heck, they even could have made Draco the head one, since he was kind of a little bit better in the last film. But I feel that's where they lost. Like, yes, everybody got into the game, but ask anybody and they'll tell you that even Harry Potter, even Harry Potter fans did not. Even Harry Potter fans got into the game. But so, whereas yes, it probably would have only been Harry Potter fans that got it. The world is full of Harry Potter fans. So it would have been enough and it would have connected the story perfectly if it would have taken place like right after the events of, I mean, heck, it could have started in that first year of the students in the last few minutes of the eighth Harry Potter film, because it could have started that year and it could have, the character could have been any one of those. And heck, the final act could have had the original cast members come to save the day, kind of like they did in Ghostbusters Afterlife. So I just feel it was a missed opportunity to bring back the original people and to connect the game to the future, especially since they're rebooting it. So they could have at least had their characters live on in the game like they did with the Ghostbusters. They, uh, Bill, Bill Murray did not want to go back for another Ghostbuster film, so they at least got him years later to voice his character again in a video game. So I feel they could have at least done that and continued on the story, but it was a missed opportunity. Um, but what do you think? How do you think about the fact that instead of going forward in a video game and continuing the story, uh, where they could have had a lot of room in that world that they created, how do you feel about that they went back 100 years to the great uh, relatives of them 100 years into the past? How do you feel about that?
I really don't know how I feel about that.
See, that's the thing. Probably a lot of people did too. It's just, it would have been a great continuation to at least the timelines and characters of the original series. If they would have continued on after that point. You know, they talk about that Lord Voldemort had a daughter. Now I don't think we will get that. Um, we may just get a rebooted version, and she probably will be the villain, or I don't know. Just they had a great opportunity, but they chose to go 100 years into the past instead of continue on with what they built eight movies on. You know, I mean, even the prequels, they could have had Newt and the others in the game, but I don't know. I'm just saying, they just, they just had a great opportunity, and they did not go there. So they could have done that, and then the rebooted series could maybe have something from it. I don't know. Just, but I will say the um so how do you think after watching all the Harry Potter films, what did you think of the last part where they jump forward into the future and you see the kids of each of the original cast members, each one of the original characters? Um, how did you feel about seeing all the characters, the original ones, grown up did you think that? How did you think the makeup and all that looked? Like the did all the characters look realistically older to what they were supposed to look like?
Yes.
Um, I personally felt that after the game was that after the last movie, that the game could have really taken it in that direction because they set up the first year of that set of new students. So I really felt they could have, if they just would have went with that, they could have started on that one. It could have been like Hogwarts: The Next Generation, or the or something like, or maybe the game could have been I don't know, anything like that. It could have been so much more. They could have followed up on what they built and what they showed at the very end. But now we don't know how it will go. We don't know the adventures they had. Because, but hmm. Well, so it seems like the director of the last film kind of pulled a Voldemort on the no, I think technically I would say the fault is on the creator of the game, that they did not continue the storyline from the books. Do, who do you think is the one that was the one that had that decision, that final decision to go? We can either do a game on continuing the events of the film, or the films, or the continuing the events of what they show at the very end of the eighth film, or uh, start all those years in the past. Um, who do you think decision that was for the game?
I think it was the new director of the films.
Oh, then hmm, then I hope that the mentor follows him for the rest of his days. Or I don't know. Maybe after the game came out, maybe he realized it, or maybe I don't know. But I hope that dawns on him in the future, that of what could have been. But or it possibly could be that he didn't care about what could have been. He just wanted it to go in that direction. But look at how much money it made him. So I guess it served him and the studio more than it served the fans. But I guess, hey, if it works for Marvel, it works for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So, well, to all that watch this is the end of the stream. I hope you have a good time watching this. And if I had to recommend something, I'd say I would recommend read one of the Harry Potter books, or turn on one of the Harry Potter films, because it's a series worth revisiting, especially if you're not going to play the game. Because yeah, because the yeah.